I am Brian.
I am Julius.
This is the Ascendant Project. The mission of the Ascendant Project is to explore the political positions in individuals. A contributor writes a 750-word article and then gets interviewed.
The purpose of the interview is to bring out other views and hopefully life experiences that sent the author down the path to the position expressed.
Although some debate will undoubtedly occur, this is not intended to be a forum for debate, but rather a project to better explore the individual and the American experience as a whole.
All opinions and views expressed, written or verbal, are solely the ownership of the one who expressed them. The Ascendant Project does not hold or endorse any views or opinions.
Of Conspiracy Theories and Toxic Skepticism by Brian Smyers. It was 2005. Katrina had just hit. I was listening to Air America in those days. I do not remember which show. But I remember hearing about rumors of W declaring a national emergency, FEMA camps, and the government plan to put dissenters into these camps, which would become concentration camps. When martial law would be carried out, it would be FEMA enforcing it. Then Obama was elected. This conspiracy theory lived on, but it had changed. Now it was the Democrats that were going to declare a national emergency, and conservatives were going to be rounded up. You just can't keep a good lie down. I remember the Death Panels of Obamacare, Pizzagate, JFK, and now we have Epstein, I say with an asterisk. Growing up in the 1980s, there have always been conspiracy theories revolving around UFOs, aliens, Project Bluebook, MK Ultra, abductions, George H.W. Bush being part of a one-world government because he said the words New World Order. In 2004, there are conspiracy theories that voting machines were switching votes from Kerry to Bush that gave Bush Ohio. Then we heard those theories during the 2020 election, except this time, votes were changed from Trump to Biden. This contributed to the anger on January 6th. August 1st of this year, I read a conspiracy theory that voting machines discarded votes for Harris in 2024. Another one that will just not go away is that every protester on the left is a protester that is paid by George Soros. The amount of cognitive dissonance for that to persist is staggering. Conspiracy theories have been around since the dawn of time. The deep state conspiracy theory is very similar to the distrust of Freemasons and the Knights Templar if you think about it. It is as if the desire to have a distrust of an unseen enemy is a path to power itself. But I get it. It is healthy to not always just accept common information as fact. It is important to have skepticism when it comes to things you hear, even from established, reputable sources. Humanity is found in every institution, and therefore mistakes and corruption can influence the information we receive. However, at some point, it should be remembered we are always putting our trust in something, even if it is a conspiracy theory. Developing a toxic skepticism leads one only to believe in one's own confirmation bias. If that bias does not trust anyone, well, soon you will find yourselves believing that lizard people run the Illuminati. Or worse yet, walking to a pizza joint in DC with a loaded weapon because you believe Hillary Clinton is running a pedophile ring. Conspiracy theories can be especially dangerous when they mix with religion. Of course, the outcomes of cults like Heaven's Gate and Jonestown come to mind. But much of the interpretation of prophecy from Judeo-Christian texts can be equally destructive. Charles Darby came up with the idea of the rapture in the 1800s. Once that caught fire, the idea of judgment can easily overshadow the idea of grace. If you take the concept that the world is evil and everyone else is going to hell anyway, and mix it with the rapture is right around the corner, suddenly the impetus of trying to make the world a better place falls away. I would argue that Darbyism leads to a self-centered, immature faith. Modern-day prophet interpreters look at the UN as the enemy because they view any one-world government to be a path for the Antichrist. So this view from the evangelical base affects how effective the United States can be in the UN. When one distrusts everything, no amount of evidence will sway your position. In order to grow as a society, trust needs to be a foundation. For anarchies give way to dictatorship, and an anarchy of knowledge and wisdom will be replaced with a single authority to rule your mind. Better to trust but verify, as Reagan put it, than to distrust at every turn and find yourself believing in chemtrails but not climate change, or using media that was made possible because of science, like the TV and internet, to say that we should not put stock in science. So it is important to get information from credentialed sources that issue corrections. A skeptical scientific mind can change the worldview as more evidence comes in. A conspiracy theory, in the end, is a sort of religion. Julius,
Brian,
read these letters.
essay?
Yep, you've read my essay.
It wasn't 750 words, though, Brian. I'm going to need you to prepare a second draft.
All right. So, on conspiracy theories and toxic skepticism.
Indeed.
All right.
How do you feel about this one?
I'm skeptical.
Well put. All right. Well, why don't you just kind of like give me the highlights? What are the things that you were thinking about? What was your inspiration?
All right. So the inspiration to a certain extent was the whole Epstein controversy, because I find it interesting how this has swapped sides, if you will, from being an anti-democratic thing to an anti-Trump thing. And it's just, I mean, and I understand it. It's because people who believe this, they want accountability for it. They don't care what party. And maybe Trump understood that. But at the same point in time, I've seen conspiracy theories switch sides before, like I mentioned in this article. And I feel like we're with AI, with every conspiracy theory going around, I feel like conspiracy theories are becoming more mainstream, and it's becoming harder and harder to determine the truth. And so, although I didn't write it in here, really it's kind of a call to common sense and to have a healthy skepticism of what you read.
Yeah. That's good. I think that's good. That's a good summary.
Yeah.
And it is really, like, it's super interesting, the Epstein thing and how it had, it was originally an attack against Biden, it felt anyway.
Well, it's definitely an attack against the Clintons.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Because conservatives think that, we hold the Clintons up as gods when we don't.
Yeah, no.
We don't. I mean, when
Sorry.
Bob Menendez was found with like gold bars in his, coat or coat or in his suit or whatever.
Yeah.
Their Democrat was like, this is a witch hunt.
Right.
I mean, or no Democrat said that the government was weaponized against them. No, we want accountability all the way across. We don't care. And if accountability is legit and found in our party, by all means, please get it out of there, because we want to govern, and we want to govern effectively. We want to make a world a better place. So we need to weed out the bad apples, and we're fine with that.
Yeah. And I do feel like it does tend to happen like more frequently
Yeah.
on the left, but I don't have any data for that. I am skeptical that is of the statement that I had just said, but
Yeah.
but yeah, at least it seems maybe like it gets more press. I don't know.
Yeah. And it also, this article basically reminds people that if you believe in nothing, all that you have left is your confirmation bias, and you only believe what feels good and not necessarily what's true.
Right.
Um,
I had heard recently, like this statement. Somebody, I really should probably look this up at some point, but somebody was defining fact as being like the objective truth, or objectively true, but your truth is like a subjective view of what is true.
Exactly. So when I say that this podcast is about, finding out people's truth, it's actually going after that subjective truth.
Mm-hmm,
it's not going after the big truth, because we're interested in finding out how everyone sees the world.
Yeah.
Because if we understand how people see the world, and we can respect that, and you can respect how we see the world, and you can respect how each other sees the world, by golly, if everybody actually goes into this, sincerely and without looking for power, holy smokes, maybe we could actually govern,
right,
and make this country a better place.
Yeah.
But also subverting it for our own interests.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, even broader than that, I think, there's, how you defend yourself, your own like psyche from conspiracy, from being like caught up or engaging in these things. You mentioned a ton of examples.
Oh yeah,
honestly.
100%.
Are there any in there that were your favorites?
Well, I don't know.
As much as anyone can have a favorite conspiracy theory.
Dude, when I was into conspiracy theories, when I was like in high school and college, they were just fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. But like certain what I would consider conspiracy theories, like Darbyism.
Yeah, tell me more. I don't know what that is. Like, please explain that more.
Charles Darby.
Uh-huh.
He is the theologian who came up with the idea of the rapture.
Oh.
And that idea.
That's right. I did hear that. That wasn't. Yeah.
That idea did not come around until the 1800s.
Yeah. Huh.
And I think most good theologians, like, went to, high school and college and then seminary, understand that apocalyptic literature was written for the day that it was in, and not for necessarily for the future.
So what was going on in the 1800s, or when this was first proposed?
Well, I mean, if you think about the 1800s, I mean, the world was really just beginning to
Industrialize,
accelerate. Really beginning to accelerate in terms of technology and everything else, because up until the 1800s, I mean, we were dealing with horses.
Mm-hmm.
Horses were the fastest means of communication. Then the telegraph came, like, right before the Civil War. And so all of a sudden, communication was becoming more instantaneous. Weapons, had moved from, we were dealing with swords up until, I think the conquistadors might have had some gunpowder, but I think they mostly still used swords, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I do think they had guns.
That was like, I think they had some
blunderbusses or something.
Yeah, some muskets or whatnot, but I think they still used swords to a certain extent, like in, when they were conquering, the Aztecs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But because, I mean, they were wearing armor,
Right.
They were wearing armor. So that was still coming out straight from the Middle Ages at that point. And, so then we got to the gunpowder, and then by the Spanish-American War, we were still using like regular gunpowder, but the Spanish were using smokeless powder,
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of what makes our victories in that kind of amazing, because regular musket powder, you fire and smoke comes up, giving away
Yeah.
your position.
Right.
Not with smokeless powder.
Right.
So they could fire from the woods or whatnot and not have their positions necessarily be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
And so things were changed. But so the world was changing, and if you think about it, from the end of the Civil War, which was 1865, to 1945, only 80 years, we went from horses to atom bombs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's an incredible.
I mean, what was it? It was
amount of change.
It was like only 60 years from like the Wright brothers.
Yeah.
To landing on the moon.
Yeah, and so you had like Marx coming up, like I think Marx and Engels, I think, was like 1848, when they started writing down, what they thought would be communism, socialism, and all that. So, yeah, I mean, the world was definitely changing, perspectives were definitely changing, and I think Darby was kind of say, all right, it's the end of the world. Here's my theory on it. And it caught like fire because, well, everybody wants to be saved. Nobody wants to do the work. So
you're telling me that I wasn't left behind, and what was the last time that the rapture was supposed to happen? I feel like they announced it every
this
few
goes
years.
into my fundy history.
Yeah.
The first time I started buying into it, 88 Reasons Why the Rapture Will Happen in 1988.
Wow.
I have the book still somewhere.
Yeah.
And it goes through all the scripture and that, this will happen.
I feel like there was one around like 2012. Too.
Yeah, there's 2012.
Yeah.
Let me know. A lot of this theory was put forth in the novel, or not novel, but I mean, it's fiction, so you can call it a novel. But The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey. I remember my mom reading that, and one of the things that they worry about, and there is, the one world government. So these things just kind of persist to this day, So there was 88 Reasons Why It Happened in 1988, and the author realized it was wrong, so he put out 89 Reasons Why It Happened in 1989. I bought into it in 1991. A few years later, while I was in high school.
Even after having missed the first two.
Yeah. Oh, well, dude, I'm like, 88. I was, I'm what, 15?
Okay.
So, it's the 14, 15, and then, 89, I'm turning 16. And then 91 was when I'm in high school, some of us were trying to figure out if we should have a rapture party or not. Kind of we realized it's not going to freaking happen. But that was like how rooted I was in back in those days.
Well, yeah, and I guess you said earlier that you thought that it was just kind of fun.
Yeah,
which is an interesting way to describe it. But yeah, I guess I understand now. Like you're planning parties around it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why should I care about anything in this world? Christ is coming, and I'm going to be taken up.
Right.
At that point, I have no interest in making the world better. None whatsoever. It's all about me. So, I just feel like a lot of this, the world is ending, the world is evil. My way is the only way to heaven is very, 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 very dangerous. Mm-hmm. And, we've seen it through history with Jonestown. We've seen it Heaven's Gate, David Koresh.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, you do. Waco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Waco.
Wacko.
Yep. So, got another call. Do you need to take a break?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely pause this. Yep. Okay, so we're good. Julius, you back?
Yes.
So how does it feel to be a victim of your own conspiracy theory? Or somebody else's conspiracy theory?
Somebody else's conspiracy theory? Yeah.
Obviously, we can't get into that on air, but it's personal problems.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
you know, life,
personal drama.
life problems. Yeah, knocking on wood. Well, so you were talking about the rapture and planning parties and and having fun with conspiracy theory. So
Yeah.
what defines a good conspiracy theory?
What defines a good conspiracy theory?
Yeah,
Oh, if you're a true believer, you're all into it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's a very subjective thing.
yeah.
It might not be good for the world, but if you're in it, yeah, it's dope.
So, I feel like I remembered the question I wanted to ask you. So would you say like the presence or prevalence prevalent, I don't know,
Prevalence.
prevalence. Yeah, thank you. Thank
Dovetails.
you. Dovetails.
Dovetail. To this day, I don't know which one's right. But anyway, even though I looked it up, I totally forget.
Would you say like conspiracy theories are the symptom or the disease? Like it kind of
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yes.
It kind of becomes like a perpetuating
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're believing in one conspiracy theory to where the powers that be are like out to get everyone, and have, well, not necessarily even out to get everyone, but just like they have nefarious, evil designs, and you take the humanity out of them. That's throughout history. I mean, there's been conspiracy theories against Masons. There's been conspiracy theories against the Knights Templar.
Yep.
We
make movies about these things.
We do, and they sell really well.
Yeah.
Because
I think, and I wrote this down too. You kind of put this in your essay, kind of like talking about trust and how we all need to trust. Like, it made me really think of like, do you remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs? It's just like
I vaguely remember it.
Yeah, it's like this pyramid, and he's got 5 layers to the pyramid. So that the bottom of the pyramid, these are like everyone's innate needs, right? So first you have your physiological needs, like I have to breathe, I have to eat, I have to.
Maslow,
unless
that's German, because then W's become V's.
Yeah. That would be Maslow.
Yeah, Maslow's. Well, I think that's what you said, but I don't know. Maybe.
So you have your physiological needs. Then you have like safety needs, like you need to, have shelter and a safe environment to exist in. Then love and belonging. Then above that is esteem, so like esteem from your peers, I guess, and then self-actualization. So like, where would you say trust falls in here? Would you say that trust is an innate need?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because this is like in psychology. It's where this is found in, and early conspiracy theories are more sociological.
They are, but I think they have a grounding in psychology.
Well, yeah. I mean, in the end, and going back to the earlier point, there's a truth that nobody makes $1 billion. In order to become a billionaire, you've built this company and you've not paid people enough. So that way you've been able to reap in the fruits of their labor at a discounted price. So they're paying them less than what they're worth. And so it's always built on the backs of the employees. So that way the owner can become the billionaire. But who did all the work?
Right.
All the employees.
Right.
You take a look at Elon.
They just need to lift themselves up by the bootstraps.
And do things harder. So there's a truth in there. I'm like, you take a look at Elon Musk. He runs 5 companies. 5 companies, 40-hour day times 5.
Right.
That's 200 hours a week. Is he working 200 hours a week?
No.
So that means he's probably cheating those companies his time, right?
Right.
And his time is like worth enough to get like $1 billion payouts.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. He's not worth that.
No.
He might be worth that financially, but he is not worth that. He's not worth that price. So, but so there is always a recognition out there because the concentration of wealth and power has been a theme throughout history. So looking for scapegoats on why you're not getting ahead is very easy to buy into.
Yeah.
Whether it be, the scapegoat of racism or the scapegoat of conspiracy theories or the scapegoat of whatever.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like they all kind of stem from the same
insecurity.
thing. Yeah. Right.
And view of the world, cynical view of the world.
Yeah.
Cynicism
versus skepticism. Somebody should write that essay.
Somebody should write that essay. And it's really interesting how all these topics actually do weave together.
Yeah, I like how our two essays have really kind of like covered all the bases. So you do describe like toxic skepticism.
Yeah.
When does skepticism become toxic?
When you kind of become nihilist. I think I'm pronouncing that right. When you believe in nothing.
You believe nothing, right?
Because if you believe nothing, you aren't the ultimate skeptic. You have faith in nothing. If you have faith in nothing, well, you sure as hell are not going to network, are you? You're not going to trust anything. You're not going to really love. Right. It can be very, very, if you trust no one, I mean, you're not going to survive a relationship.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
So would, so I usually think of skepticism as being a kind of like logical thing. Would you describe skepticism also being an exercise of faith?
Governed faith.
Huh?
Governed faith.
Governed faith? Oh,
Governed
okay.
faith.
That's nuance.
It is nuance.
Yeah.
Because faith, you're putting your trust in something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in Christianity, they're like, you have faith in the chair because you sat down in it without even thinking. That's a pretty famous metaphor in the Christian faith. But, and so they're saying, put that faith in God and he'll work miracles or whatever. But you can't have faith that's completely blind, because you don't necessarily want to be led into a cult. For me, I mean, I feel like one of the warning signs of a church becoming a cult is when the congregation starts quoting the pastor more than the Bible, or, Brother Mike said this, or referring to the pastor and just like putting all that authority into the name of the pastor or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, run.
Yeah.
There's no accountability there. You're putting way too much, you're giving them way too much power by doing so.
Yeah.
So I feel like a skeptical faith, or a governed faith is the term I went with, is pretty good. And you got to do the governing. You got to govern your own faith. You can't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you definitely put in like some ways that you described ways you could like steel yourself.
Yeah.
And, to protect yourself. I did want to mention, I don't know if you recall, we both put the same quote in our essays. Trust but verify.
Oh, yes, we did.
Which is often attributed.
Which Gorbachev was driven crazy by.
Yeah, why?
Because Reagan kept saying it over and over again, and it's like,
and so
there's a couple of clips where Gorbachev is just like rolling his eyes.
Yeah,
like, God, this
because
again.
Reagan is said it so much for years until I wrote that essay. I thought it was a Reagan quote. I thought it was
Gorbachev quote originally.
It was a Russian proverb, actually.
Yeah, it's a Russian proverb. Yep.
Which is interesting. I guess. I don't know. It's interesting to me because in the Cold War we considered them to be our socio-political enemies, and yet we had did Reagan do that intentionally, you think? Like,
do what?
Borrow one of their proverbs as a way of kind of bridging the divide?
I think so. And I think it was Gorbachev who had said it to him originally.
Hmm.
I mean, I know it was a Russian proverb before then. And then Reagan just he loved it because, it trust but verify allowed the skepticism to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, we had just gone through, 45 to 89. And actually, even after World War One, things were already pretty tense between the United States and Russia anyway.
Yes.
I mean, if I remember right, we sent troops during the Russian Revolution to support the White Russians who lost.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that part's not necessarily taught
No.
anymore. But
that is interesting.
But yeah, an Allied Expeditionary Force. Yeah, the British, I think, were part of it too. And and so they lost, and so Russia kind of viewed that as America invading Russia, and so that's what's taught over there. So and that kind of fuels their suspicion of the West, because we weren't there for them during their revolution. We fought against them during the revolution, even though we were also fighting the Kaiser. So I think I have that timeline right. It might not happen after, but I'm not 100% sure.
It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
About when World War One ended and when we were in Russia. But that part of history, is very important to Russia. So they don't trust us. So, trust but verify applies to us for them as well.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting though that you bring that up, and I feel like we see so much happening now, in the media and with policy, talking about how historical events should be framed a certain way. Do you think that is intentional to incite conspiracy, or do you think the conspiracists just kind of like latch on to that?
Well, I mean, every good lie and every good conspiracy theory has a nugget of truth in there.
Yeah.
I mean, and there has to be something to latch onto. And, and sometimes the truth can be just a perception, like with Pizzagate. Hillary Clinton was not running a pedophile ring.
Right.
But
there was a pizza parlor.
There was a pizza parlor there, you know. But the truth was, I mean, that was like going through 4chan and going through, I guess, what would become QAnon. And if you're really into that, then at that point, if that's your whole world, if that's your echo chamber, you're going to believe it. And you might be motivated to do something about it.
Yeah.
And that's what that guy did.
Yeah.
He was operating on false information. He went to prison for it. So,
how do you verify that though?
You have to be willing to go outside of your echo chamber. I mean, and this is a theme of this podcast. You have to go outside of your echo chamber. You have to be willing to have people in your life say, dude, you're full of crap. Yeah. And you have to be able to respect them enough to hear them.
Yeah. But I guess, it like that kind of conspiracy is especially insidious, right? Because it becomes really difficult if you want to verify. There was so many people on the left who kind of just like, poo-pooed it. And
it becomes self-fulfilling, Hillary Clinton's an important Democrat, so of course she's covering it up. Right. There's not going to be any information there. So that lack of information all of a sudden legitimizes it, right?
Sure.
So,
but also like if you go to the pizza parlor because you just want to see what's going on, but they won't let you in the back or down the stairs, because it's a business and that's just how businesses work. Then again, it just becomes kind of like part of the conspiracy. Yeah,
drag queen story time are ruining our kids,
right?
Oh, school shootings aren't,
right.
All those drills are not traumatizing the kids at all, are they?
No. Did you, out of curiosity, did you ever do nuclear bomb drills?
I don't remember any nuclear bomb drills. I do remember tornado drills in Indiana during the 9 months I was there.
Yeah.
But I do not remember having to do duck and cover. I think at the elementary school or in Maryland, I think all we did was fire drills. I don't think we did duck and cover. But at the same point in time, we weren't near a large metro area. I mean, we're 40 miles away from DC, similar amount away from Baltimore. And so I don't think they were necessarily worried about the effect of a nuclear bomb going off at Fort Meade or whatnot and still catching us.
Right.
So, I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, in a nuclear war, there's no part of Maryland that's safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially, with Fort Ritchie up in the Catoctin Mountains.
Yeah.
Fort Detrick, former bioweapons, and then it was just converted to they actually declassified everything, and we're just trying to make vaccines for anthrax and things like that.
Right.
It was biodefense instead of offensive. First copier job was at Fort Detrick.
Yeah.
And I went to some dude's retirement party, and and I heard two stories that, and this was said in a non-class environment.
Right.
I don't know if it should have been said in a non-class environment.
Hey,
But hey, they said it, so I'm repeating it. Anthrax was lost by UPS.
Of course.
Of course.
That's perfect.
Yes. And the other one was, I think they found it, but it took a couple months for UPS to find the package. And the other one was when they had Russian observers come in to verify that everything was declassified.
On the up and up.
Yeah, it was on the up and up that they weren't making bioweapons anymore.
Right.
One of the observers stood on a table and started moving ceiling tiles to see if anything was hidden up in the ceiling.
Yeah.
And like, what are you doing? These are like climate. Yeah. I mean, this is built to contain things, you can't go messing with the structure. So.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I feel like, skepticism works really well, but I mean, you can really only take it so far. At some point, Occam's razor really has to kind of prevail.
Yeah.
Like ceiling tiles, sure, yeah. Could they be doing something in the ceiling? Maybe.
Did they just move
Is
stuff
it
up
more
there
likely
for the
that they're
inspection?
just ceiling tiles? Yeah. Right.
I think that's what I was worried about. The secret vials of weaponized anthrax are
right
up in the ceiling.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a risk those guys would take. Just put weaponized anthrax above the ceiling tiles.
Yeah, the closest thing to classified information, it didn't have any classified markings on it, but there was a paper jam in a copier. There had been a ricin scare. And so when I cleared the jam, I saw the report that was released to the public 4 hours later. I had the exclusive information for 4 hours that no, it wasn't ricin. But yeah.
You could have gone on all the betting markets,
Yeah, seriously.
Made a killing.
Made a killing. But
not literally, but
but yeah, I mean, there's nothing classified that I saw there. So it was first copier job. That was great. Scariest thing was pushing paper down the hall. I got to work early, so nobody was there. And then all the lights, they were testing the alarm. And I'm like all alone on the hall pushing paper. I'm like,
what do I do?
Okay.
They didn't escort you?
I mean, I had a general clearance. So,
Oh.
and I wasn't going to any classified areas.
Gotcha.
I wasn't going back into the areas with rhesus monkeys or the labs. And they didn't require, like, during the Cold War, everything was classified up until they went straight defense, and then they didn't require security clearances. But after September 11th happened again, then they started requiring security clearances for the people who went into the labs. But for, copier fixers like me, and those copiers were not in any classified spaces. Yeah, I didn't need one.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I was not in any areas that were classified. And I'm quite happy with that, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because, I mean, at that time in my life, I'm not sure I would have been like mature enough to handle the information. Truth be told, I mean, I've always been a late bloomer, so I think I can handle it now. But I mean, so many people think that classified means super secret stuff that everybody can't know, and that
Right.
you're freaking. There's a mystique about it.
More
There's
than 80,
not.
like almost like 100, yeah, like 90, better than 90% of the time. It's just, oh, so and so showed up for their shift on time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is that if you work for a corporation, you do work with classified information. It might not be government classified. It might not be TSSCI or
Right.
any other level of
But
government.
it's sensitive to
But
somebody.
it's sensitive to the company, and
Yeah,
they don't want
yeah.
the stuff getting out. That's why you're signing your confidentiality agreements
Right.
when you're employed.
Right.
It's because it's, for all intents and purposes, the company says your stuff's classified. So and I'm just saying this to take the mystique out of it. I mean, it's just because something's classified does not mean it's nefarious, but it's just done to protect the company or protect the government. And to a certain extent, the government is really just the company.
Yeah.
So it's not anything to lose your crap over.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Right. Well, and like I said,
if you want to hear something funny though,
yeah, always.
so when I found out that my dad's clearance was like TSSCI,
Mm-hmm.
Since he was like a system admin, I thought that stood for top secret science. And so I was like,
I
And
bet
I
a lot
wonder-
of people.
I bet the FDA has top secret ag.
TSAG.
Yes, for agriculture.
Right.
The brown note might be TSMUS for music.
And the and NASA might be TS Spa.
TS Spa. Yeah. But I mean, it was great working at Fort Detrick because that was my first
exposure to
that sort of environment. I mean, even though I wasn't dealing with information, I was like really learning to respect the people who did.
Yeah.
And understand the type of work and how seriously they take these things.
So here's an interesting, like, kind of tangent to that, right? Because there's, that's pretty common in this area, in Maryland, D.C., Virginia area.
Oh, yeah, totally, 100%.
That you're...
So long as you're on this side of the Blue Ridge.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And not living on the Eastern Shore, but yeah.
That's not common in other regions, though, where there aren't as many, like, government buildings, government agencies, but, like, a lot of people in this area don't bat an eye to that. We don't think there's some like rampant conspiracy happening
not really.
all around, all over the place. How do is that just kind of like apathy, or do you think because it's so common, it's just like, well, there's no way everyone could be in on this? Or
I mean, if you're an outside vendor,
yeah,
you tend to run into the environment every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
You wind up going into these contractors usually, where you have to be escorted, or there's a red light that turns on when you walk in to fix the copier or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's part of life. And the ones that are really bad, they will move the copier out of the room to a non-classified area of the building for you to fix the copier.
Where they promptly like run it over a bump or something trying to put it back, and then it's broken again.
Yeah. But I mean, just to go to the immaturity side of my humor, I mean, when I'm leaving and somebody yells clear, meaning the non-class guy is no longer in the room. Clear! I go, boom. like getting zapped.
Right next to the AED. Yes. It's hanging on the wall, probably.
I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, but I mean, I've been to a few places where I needed 2 forms of ID to get in.
Sure.
It's just more of a pain as an outside vendor than anything else.
Yeah.
But I mean, I respect what happens in those environments, and it's part of being a patriot.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
I
mean, respecting the people who deal with the country's secrets is, yeah, I think it's kind of a form of patriotism. Doesn't mean you shouldn't question what's going on.
Sure.
I mean, I do think there is something going on, like overclassification of things.
Absolutely.
You could say it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think there's definitely some overclassification going on, but which gets in the way of government transparency. And when you overclassify, bringing this back, if you overclassify and everything, it's going to breed conspiracy theories.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I was kind of bring it back the same way. Quite honestly, like it's like I think again at a certain point, like you just have to. I mean, I don't want to necessarily just say you just have to trust, like, but at a certain point you have to realize that a conspiracy at that level would just be way too difficult to maintain.
Yeah.
And for this, in many cases, the same people holding these conspiracies are also the people who say, well, the government's inefficient and can't get anything done. Well, then how are they also able to to keep this massive conspiracy? You know, like, so I mean,
even with like people like Snowden.
Yeah.
Which the effect of Snowden was not the release of the classified files. The effect of Snowden was the over investigation of people working for the government.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, that just made the government want to pry more. But I mean, it's Snowden did a lot of damage in that aspect and affected so many lives when it comes to that. But actually, the problem with Snowden and a few other, like if you wind up getting into espionage cases or whatnot, idealism.
Yeah.
Idealism wind up. If your idealism is strong enough, you'll betray your clearance. I mean, you could,
Sure. I mean, I feel like there's a distinction that you could draw between idealism and just being principled.
Oh yeah, totally, 100%.
I don't know exactly how to draw that distinction, but like
I mean, it's like I used the governed faith earlier. I mean, it's kind of like a governed idealism,
right?
I mean, okay, so if I disagree with something, I'll go
description.
through proper channels, and I will hold to my idealism, but I'll put it through proper channels, and I'll stand down when I need to. But I know that I did what I needed to do what's right.
Right.
And so many things that, like, as far as the defense industry goes, I mean, the world, I mean, let's face it, is in an arms race. And they aren't just in an arms race of more guns and more
right,
whatever.
Absolutely. Right.
They're in an arms race of technology.
Uh-huh.
And you better bet your ass that's going to be classified.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And really also an arms race of social control.
Social control,
which,
100%.
I think, again, kind of ties right into.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope I haven't said like way too much, but I don't think I've said anything that's bad.
No, I don't think you have. But yeah, what are we at?
Let's see here. We are at 43 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, so you have any? I know I've covered this with you before, but like, what are your number one tips to avoiding conspiracy theory and remaining skeptical and not being toxic, engaging in toxic skepticism?
So I think when it comes to conspiracy theories about people in power, remember that they're human like you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think that's a good one. I think there's another proverb that I often recite to myself. Always assume ignorance before malice.
Yes, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
Huge one. But with the former, though, I remember my dad talking about death panels with Obamacare.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, do you really think that's what they're really legislating here. Or when you're coming to end of life, that a meeting with your doctors about how things are going to go, if you need hospice or whatnot,
Right.
would that be covered?
What does that mean?
Because that's what that was
it mean
about.
to be resuscitated? What are our extreme measures?
Yeah.
Having some kind of...
It's not a panel it's just making sure that crap's covered.
Right.
And when my grandma died, I was like, I am glad that she was able to meet with her doctors and determine her end.
Yep.
So, but people, if Democrats are evil, oh, yeah, there's going to be a team of doctors to determine who lives and who dies and kill off the old. Dude, come on.
Right.
Grow up. Get real, get a life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Any other tips?
Common sense.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of keying into the same sort of thing.
See, I feel like that's a really difficult one, and maybe that's something else like. Common sense sounds like really easy to...
So Payne, was he the one who talked common sense?
I think so, actually, yeah. Like,
okay.
what does that mean to be...
It's just like, I think for me, common sense deals with, maybe it means something different to everyone.
Yeah.
But for me, if you strip away the facts and you strip away the conjecture and you just take a look at the character, does it make sense? And
okay,
I can see where that can get you in trouble, because if you think the character of Democrats they're going to kill you, yeah, you might believe in death panels and that might be common sense to you. But so
I think there's also, and I'll offer
trust but verify.
Well, I think there's also like in that same vein of trust but verify. I think that's, if I can offer a small defense of the idea, so much of everything is also kind of like reduced down to soundbite, or the 2-word slogan.
100%.
But I think it's possibly justified.
Good policy will never fit on a bumper sticker.
Right. Absolutely. I think it's possible, though, that you could be suspicious of the government's motives for wanting to make sure that that's something that's covered.
Yeah.
And then, potentially doctors knowing that this is an easy way they can get paid. And I realize this implies a certain distrust of doctors and people in medicine and their relationship with the government. But, I think it becomes useful if you want to engage in honest skepticism.
Yeah.
To then say, okay, well, what things policy-wise do we need to make sure are in place to ensure that the incentives and the biases are in the right place and that they're being kept separate.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
So then,
yep.
So Brian,
Sir,
what is it you want people to take away from your essay?
In the end, and perhaps this is, it wasn't necessarily discussed, but have faith in your fellow man. Understand everybody's not out to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Because to a large extent, I feel like conspiracy theories are a symptom of victimhood. And when you're feeling like a victim, you're easily manipulated.
Yeah.
So, and at that point, then the conspiracy winds up becoming a means for you to support somebody else's means to power.
Right.
And it's not necessarily going to benefit you. This isn't to say that all conspiracy theories are bad. I put Epstein in there with an asterisk because I do think there are legitimate questions there. But at the same point in time, I don't necessarily know whether it's appropriate for us to know everything that's in those files, because, if there's a lot of guilty by association then that goes on. Okay, so this person had dinner with Epstein. Did this person go to the island? No. Did this person go to, have sex with young women? No. He had dinner. So obviously, he needs investigated.
Right.
There's got to be something there. And then his life is all torn up. Do I think there's a list? Not written by Epstein or by Maxine Glasswell or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
But do I think there's a list out there that some investigator drew on a diagram to make connections to make a case? Yeah,
Right.
most definitely.
Right.
Was that list entered in evidence? No. Why would it? It was just trying to piece together a picture of what to prosecute and what not to. And just trying to piece together, what actually is relevant or not. So if you're on that list, doesn't necessarily mean you did anything wrong.
Right.
So, I'm cautious when it comes to Epstein. Do I think there's more to the story there? Yeah, everybody knows there's more to the story there. But do I necessarily need to know all that there is when it comes to Epstein? Probably not. Do we need to know what pertains to the president? Well, that's definitely in the public interest. Do we need to know if Reggie Jackson's on that list? Probably not.
No.
I don't even know if he's still alive, but but you see what I'm saying. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with the sentiment.
We need to hold power accountable. Is what I'm looking at.
Yeah. And just as a short aside, I forgot to bring this up earlier. Do you remember the quote that Bush, the context for when Bush said New World Order? I remember that, actually. That was one of the
what
few
we are
things
looking at is good and evil, right and wrong. A New World Order. Sampled by NWA in the song NWO. No, not NWA, but sampled by Ministry in the song NWO. Which I will probably put a link to because it's a kick-ass song.
Awesome. Well, no. So here was the quote, because I remember this was like at the time, again, which I mentioned last week, where I was like just kind of like questioning whether there was any actual malice. But here was the quote. It was, "We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders."
Nice.
Yeah. Actually, kind of a nice sentiment.
Yeah, I think it was in reference to was that the very first time?
I'm honestly not sure, but that's the one I remember, I think.
The one I remember was about we were about to invade Kuwait, to liberate Kuwait from Iraq. And so what it was recognizing the fall of the Soviet Union had just occurred. America was the only superpower. And so we could take care of this, but we went through the United Nations, and we wanted to make the United Nations stronger to deal with world conflicts, like we would have to with Bosnia, like we would have to. They fell short with Rwanda, but the United Nations was going to wind up being the way to nip world conflicts in the bud and from becoming gigantic. And I think that's what his vision was. And so that's, of course, people on the far right thought one world government, Antichrist is coming.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And yeah. I mean, it's just like, no, he's just trying to make a better world, damn it.
Right. That's all he's talking about.
But,
Yeah. All right. Well,
but we can't make the world better because the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? so forget making a difference in the life and people's lives, because
right,
you have to make them worse in order to make the world better. Right, obviously,
exactly.
So he says with sarcasm.
The hellscape is the clear pinnacle of society.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So final question.
Yes.
Are you a member of the USTO?
The United States Trade Organization?
Isn't it the United States? Or maybe it's the USTA.
USTA, the United States Tennis Association.
Yeah.
Actually, I think my membership
Are
has
you-
lapsed, but I
Oh.
had been. Yes.
Oh, so do you think maybe you should renew said membership so you could beat me at tennis again?
Yeah, seriously. Obviously, that's why I was winning. Obviously, now that
Obviously.
I'm not,
Yeah.
it's because my membership lapsed completely, 100%.
Got to maintain that membership.
Do you mind if I put up your deep state ID?
Absolutely not. You know, it's all encoded anyway.
It's all encoded. That it was a work of art. Work of art. I put what in binary. I put it on the show notes. Hang on a second here.
Yeah, for reference. So, Brian and I have known each other now for almost a decade, or more than a decade. No, it's just a little bit more than right around a decade, I think now. And when I had right around when I first met Brian, and we were out somewhere, just socializing,
probably
or whatever.
camping or whatever.
Yeah. And you knew I worked for a certain government agency.
Yes.
And had prepared one of the most awesome gifts I think I've ever received from anybody. And please go to the website, go to the bottom of the article, and you will see my deep state ID, which was prepared by Brian in association with his friends in the deep state. And
no, this is all me. This is all me. Yeah. I've threatened to make these for other people.
Oh my God, you should.
But I mean, it's I need photos of
I
them.
think if you hit us up in the
nefarious
comments,
photos, like I mean, your photo is you're lit by a campfire.
It was excellent.
Wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
So you're looking kind of nefarious that way in that photo anyway.
With the red the red eyes. Boy. I think if anybody listening to this hits up and says please really nicely, Brian may just pull out his laminator.
Especially if you're just laid off by Doge.
Right.
But yeah, like I put like hexadecimal on here, and it winds up, if you translate that to ASCII, it should read as the preamble to the Constitution. The binary portion, like I put a binary portion in here, and it should link to a portion of the Gettysburg Address. The statue is that of Columbia, which is found on top of the Capitol building.
Mm-hmm.
There's a silhouette of a donkey, and there's a silhouette of a rhino, because we all know real Republicans can't be part of the deep state.
Right.
So, it's a rhino. The QR code.
Yeah.
The QR code, if you scan it, it goes to the Simpsons episode where they're the Stonecutter, the Stonecutter song.
That's right.
We do. Who made Steve Gutenberg a star? Yes. And then the back of it reads, I pledge to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. I pledge to speak truth to power using proper channels as appropriate. I believe that establishing justice, ensuring domestic tranquility, providing for the common defense, and promoting the general welfare and securing the blessings of liberty is essential to the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. My worldview will change with evidence, research, and proof. My patriotic loyalty is to my country and not to any party or specific human in power. Logic is my guide and reason is my muse. If you believe in us, you cannot join us.
Hear, hear.
Freaking awesome.
Yes.
It's like one of the best things I ever did. Oh yeah, there's also a pentacle with Flanders in the center of it. And it has the triangle that's on the back of the dollar.
Right.
Not the pyramid,
right.
With the elevated
pyramid
top.
With the eye, yeah.
And the eye, yes. There's a Latin phrase on here, illuminus patre. And that should translate to the enlightened of the country, from Latin to English. Yeah, yeah. Your code name is Necrophilius. Your most exalted master. I stole that from Freemasons.
It was an inside joke, which has kind of fallen out of favor, I guess, but I'm not going to bring it back.
No, Necrophilius. Yeah. Yep. And your ID starts with your initials and then 666. So, yeah. State of deep. Country before party, evidence before loyalty.
Absolutely.
So even then, I was like working skepticism into your ID.
Yeah, it was excellent. I still carry it. Well, I don't have it on me now, but
well, if you need another one, and you have a laminator.
Oh no, I absolutely have it.
I didn't have a laminator, so I used poor man lamination, which is packing tape.
Oh,
that's right. And then I cut the packing tape to make it good.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's
nice.
So, all right, you want to take us out?
Sure. Well, so thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us. Please provide some feedback and visit the website, theascendantproject.com. You can leave a message. You can subscribe. Please like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and what's the one I'm forgetting?
Pocket Podcasts.
And yeah, I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah. So the feedback is what we need to know that you're listening, and feedback is important because if there's a topic or anything that you would like us to discuss that you feel needs discussed, we'll definitely take into consideration.
Yeah.
If you're interested in writing an essay, we are looking for contributors.
Yeah.
And because we have to set up next year. There's only
we are coming up on the end of the season.
Yeah, there's only a few left.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully we'll get another essay from Nick. I don't think that's fully confirmed yet, but
yeah,
that'd be freaking awesome.
That'd be amazing.
Yes, that'd be totally amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, more contributors means more fun.
Yeah.
So and more challenges to our worldview. We need our echo chambers busted.
Yep.
So please bust them. So just bust them respectfully.
Yeah.
Yep. And thanks to everybody on Tumblr who likes and comments and all that. So you're really, really, really appreciated. The blog side of this is tearing it up.
Yeah.
So we'd like the podcasting to carry on too. So
right. Yes, please.
Yep. Anything else?
I got nothing else.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks. So I am Brian.
I am Julius.
And this is the Ascendant Project. Have a good day.
Who controls the British crown? Who keeps the metric system down? We do.
Who leaves Atlantis off the maps?
Who keeps the Martians under wraps? We do. Who holds back the electric car?